Once you're thinking about your evidence effects, here's a mistake that students tend to make. Students will get their quotes and their techniques first. Think about that. They'll get 3 techniques or 3 quotes and they'll stack them in and they'll be like, oh, that's my first one, that's my second one, that's my third one. What's wrong with that? Whether it's Sahana or someone else, what's wrong with getting your body paragraph and looking at that appropriate part of the text and getting 3 really good quotes or techniques and being like, oh, yep, that could be 1, that could be 2, that could be 3. What's wrong with that approach?
Your thesis could change, like depending on the question.
Well, it's not about the thesis changing. It's just more about the process and the order by which you're doing this. So again, we're talking about building an essay draft. You've got a question. Thesis changing or not, let's leave that aside for different and forget about there being other questions that you could be asked. But even if you had a question and you knew what your thesis was, when it comes time to picking your evidence and shaping your argument within each body paragraph, what's wrong with grabbing 3 quotes that you like and stacking them and then writing about each one? So it might not flow. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they would be kind of all different. And so they have maybe different themes and ideas in each quote.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The ideas might not relate. So even though you like the 3 quotes, when you explain them, that those explanations, those ideas might not actually flow from one to the other. So that's exactly the answer. And maybe that was just assumed by others. But what I'm trying to say here is when you choose these, it's kind of this weird, it's an implied process, but the idea is you read through the evidence, you figure out what quotes you like, but when you then come to shape the body paragraph, you actually start with the ideas. Obviously keeping in mind, you've already looked at the evidence and you know roughly the types of quotes you want, but it's like you read the text step 1, step 2, you actually come to your body paragraph and you write 3 mini ideas. See how you wrote 3 topic sentences first? Now you write with underneath each topic sentence 3 more specific ideas that kind of branch off from that topic sentence idea, from that body paragraph idea. So say you were talking about the core tension of the text. Can anyone offer up like a tension or a problem they explore in one of their common module essays, for instance, just so I can work with an example here?
Hysteria in the Crucible.
Right, great. So basically, as you heard before, Mario, hopefully you did hear it. When you talk about hysteria, obviously you know that when you define that concept, you're going to be more specific. But obviously, just now I'm just looking for a general term like that, so that's good. But when we talk about hysteria, okay, there's this tendency towards hysteria. Now we need to break that down into 3 smaller ideas. Now, you've already looked at the text and you know the kind of quotes you want to choose, but you're not just going to stack 3 quotes on each other only to then find out the ideas don't actually flow from one to the next. So instead, you start with the ideas, having looked at the text, and you say, okay, what's the logical starting point here? And just think about it chronologically. Okay, I've got a hysteria. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, why there is a hysteria. Well, how does hysteria come about? Okay, and then you write the idea there, keeping the text in mind. You need to know that the text will answer that for you. Okay, so you say, okay, how does hysteria come about? Can you see how that question kind of places me right at the start of the text? Kind of places me pretty early. How does it come about? Or why does it come about? Okay, then the next, and you write that idea there. And you say, okay, hysteria emerges out of self-interest. Okay, or to get attention or something, right? And then you go get a piece of evidence about Abigail or something, right? So you're matching up evidence with an idea that's already been planted there, but the idea that you put there was derived from you having gone through the evidence, if that makes sense. Okay, so if you can kind of follow what I'm saying there, that's the process by which I would do this. So then you go, where does hysteria come from? Okay, second thing, how does hysteria starts there? That's how it emerges. Why does hysteria, what are people's reactions to hysteria? Like, how does hysteria start to build up? See how the first idea was going to be, okay, hysteria emerges from self-interest. Okay. Hysteria then consequently, the community feels threatened by this revelation. Okay. So now I'm going to get a quote that shows other people getting hysteric. So my first bit of evidence was about how someone had some kind of selfish interest, self-serving interest. The second one is now about, okay, hysteria started that way, but now it starts to build up this way. And then the third evidence, this is the thinking, right? And this is the hard thing. We're just doing this on the spot now. But the third thing about hysteria might be, okay, I've got it emerging that way. People start to react irrationally this way, right? And then all of a sudden, individuals become overwhelmed by emotions and their reason is lost. So you kind of expand on that second point a little bit more, but you're going more deep on the emotional side of it. And then you get a piece of evidence from the text on that. So the points are quite similar there at the end, but you're giving a deeper point. You're giving an extension of a point on the last one. So that's where in that one, you can actually just extend points as well, or you can have cause and effect relationships. So very long-winded answer, Sahana, but hopefully this is getting to the point there that first of all, you don't be governed by the quotes, you're governed by the ideas, but the ideas, of course, came from you already having consolidated the quotes and looked at them, and then you get a feel for it, but then you dot point. I would have 3 dot points, which are kind of, indexed in. So you have your topic sentence, and then we have 3 dot points inside, and we say, okay, idea 1 is this, mini idea is this, and mini idea 3 is this, and then you match them up to the quotes that best support that. And in terms of getting those ideas in that flow, we use the order of the text as a rough guide. So look at the order of the text. And then also with the ideas, think about cause and effect. Okay, what is the consequence? Always ask yourself, what's the consequence of this? Because that will probably be an easy way to do the next idea and have a clear flow on, right? Does that make sense? You're going to have continuity if you say, so what? So ask yourself, so what, after you say one of your mini ideas, because that's an easy way to get the second idea. And then for the third one there, you can see in that example on hysteria, we went, okay, here's the first thing. Where does it come from? So what? Well, it causes this kind of response. And then you can say, okay, go deeper on that. Give me another perspective on that. And then we focus in on the emotional side of it. So you can actually extend on one of them. So you can almost have two pieces of analysis which extend each other, and then another 2 pieces of evidence might be connected by a cause and effect relationship, which you can get to via the so what route.